It's that time of year again, fellas. Dog days of summer. Not much to look forward to. Except the occasional taint sweat. A little underboob action. Sweat, that is. It's hard to keep going sometimes. But the one thing that keeps me going is knowing that fantasy football season is right around the corner, guys. Hello and welcome back. I am Todd Kiper Berman Jr. It's great to be back here. It's great to be back in the Fantasy Football League, the SBE League, a very competitive league, a league from top to bottom that is always competitive. We had several teams in the playoff hunt right down to the wire, an incredibly exciting team. Let me tell you guys, this is what I look forward to every year. This is what we need to do. Even though I'm not in the league, as Todd Kiper Berman Jr., I'm excited to talk about this league because it's that good of a league. Now, there are some changes to the league here. Let's first note those off the top of the bat. First change, switching draft strategy. No, not strategy, but switching draft format. We are going from a snake to an auction. That's right, folks. We're going to an auction-type style fantasy football draft. That means you nominate a player, you bid, you potentially win that player. You could win all the best players in the league and have no money left and only have 5 guys in your roster. You could bet nothing on the best players in the league and have 12 really shitty guys on your team. It's really up to you, whatever you want to do. That's the great thing about the auction draft. Again, not as much important to be placing the ping pong balls therefore today, but of course it is important. The nomination order is big. It sets the tone for the draft. It sets the tone for the league. It sets the tone for the rest of the calendar year. And again, we are excited to be here, folks. I am Todd Kiper Berman Jr. Great to be here. Let me get a drink. My God, what a thrilling opportunity to be here. Let's just go right into it. Let's talk about, usually go top to bottom or bottom to top. This year we're going top bottom. We're going to list the champions first. We're going to talk about the champion season first. And of course, when I'm talking about the champion, that means I'm talking about Cameron Herman. Congratulations, Cameron Herman, the Mac Daddies. Came in with that 6th seed in the playoffs, snuck into the playoffs on the skin of his teeth, the hair on his back, if he has hair on his back. Who knows? Not many people do. But anyways, looking at this guy, the Mac Daddies, he laid the Mac down in the playoffs, winning the championship, winning the big dollar prize. Congratulations to him. The dude drops 140 in the championship game. That's an unprecedented amount of points. Granted, this is a high-scoring league. We've seen guys such as Tom Homo put up a 211 spot in the regular season, but Cameron puts up a 140 in the championship? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's a fantastic performance. That's how you win championships. Congratulations to him. The real question is, can he do it again? A lot of pundits thinking no. I'm hearing a lot of sources from the Twitter sphere, a lot of from the Instagram sphere, a lot of grammars tweeting no. He can't do it. The Mac Daddies cannot repeat. But I am here to tell you, it is a possibility. It is a possibility. This guy makes a lot of moves. He had 7 top 10 players on his roster last year. That's right, 7. Count them. You only start 9 guys. That means he only had 2 guys that weren't in the top 10. And looking at his stats here, those 2 guys were in the top 20 in the positions. This guy did some brilliant moves. A real late bloomer in the season, much like me in high school. A real late bloomer. Really hit his stride towards the end. Probably not enough time to really gloat and how great his team was because it only came through in the championship game. Of course, came in with that 6th seed. I'm going to do some most likely categories this year. Which teams are most likely to do what, whether it be in the league or whether it be via the auction. And I'm going to go most likely to not lather, rinse, and repeat as champion. That's right, Cameron Herman. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I'm agreeing with my gram pundits, the Twitter pundits. He made 39 moves last year. I don't know where the Harry Potter theme song came from. I really don't. I think it's a commercial within the YouTube, and we're hearing squeakers now. But again, 39 moves, that's a down year for you, moves-wise. Maybe you move that back. Maybe you can lather and rinse yourself. Repeat to a championship. Congratulations, Cameron Herman. Moving on to the second place team, the team that really dominated the regular season. That's right, Juju on that jewel. That's Nathan Sprunk's team, a consistently guy that makes the playoffs. Sneaky playoffs every year. Every year his draft gets trashed by Dan Ingram in his power rankings, and every year Sprunk knows exactly what he's doing. It's baffling. Is his wife drafting for him? There are some that believe that she is. But anyways, he drafts a great team. It doesn't matter. Historic regular season. Historic. 12-1. Puts up 1,850.8 points. That's historic. That's the tops in the league, in the SPE league. That is like the cherry on the sundae. That it's the sprinkles with the cherry on the sundae. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, the one thing I will give the critique this wrong, besides choking in the championship game, is He's a real missed opportunity. His name is Juju on Dak Jewell. I think that could have been really good. He could have worked another player, another NFL player. Of course, I'm referring to Dak Prescott, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys here. I really think that's a missed opportunity with your name, man. You fucked up, dude. You fucked up. Anyways, he crumbled like a pie in the championship game. He only put up like 100-some points in a championship. Are you kidding me? After a 12-1 season, that's all you're going to put up? But let's give up some props to him. Again, a 12-1 season. You don't often see that in a fantasy league, especially one competitive as this, which had 6 teams within that 7-6 and 6-7 range, even a couple teams in that 5-8 range. That made it real interesting down to the end of the wire. Anyways, we'll just go right into the most likely. This guy, like I said, he beat teams into a Tropicana pulp, man. He really loves that OJ, this guy. If O.J. Simpson was eligible to draft him, he would draft him. He'd be on this guy's team. He would have been on Juju on that Jewel. Anyways, this guy is most likely to never drink apple juice during the draft. Yeah, Nathan Sprunk, congratulations on a second place finish. Moving on to the third place team, we're calling Jordan Mallon. That's right, the return of the Mountain Men. Not only did they come back to the playoffs, they came back to the playoffs and had a very good season. Again, another perennial playoff contender. He didn't really necessarily have the points this year, but he played the matchup that was in front of him, and he capitalized on that matchup. He won that matchup. He swiped the matchup, made it his own, bought that shit, bought victories. That's what he did. I'm not saying he bribed anybody to a victory. I'm just saying he played the matchup in front of him, won the championship. Anyways, he must have talked to a gypsy, because obviously he had some luck, though, with these matchups. He had a negative point differential for the season, but he had some, real positive, negative things going on, much like a magnet, the real polarity kind of thing. This guy is from the north. He is from Chicago, so that polarity makes sense if you think about it in contextual terms. Anyways, a top-heavy roster. It's a Brett Tanaka-like roster, all strength up top, not a lot going down, real chicken legs kind of scenario. Not a lot of chicken breasts going on, but a lot of chicken breasts, very little chicken legs. Anyways, that's how you get third place in the league, though. And the guy's a champion. The guy's been a champion before. He makes the playoffs every year. He's usually in that top 4. Every year I feel like I'm talking about Mallon in that top 4. I'm talking about him again here. And that's why I'm calling him the most likely to have an altitude-related name. That's right. He's been the Mountain Men several times. He's returned the Mountain Men. He's brought them back. Will he bring back a championship to Chicago? I think that's what Mallon's intention is this season. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does this year. That means I'm moving on to my 4th team. That's talking about our second place team in the regular season. I'm talking about the commish. I'm talking about Dan Ingram. That's right, post Mahomes. And what can you say? He's the writer of the power rankings. He's the commish of the league, the stirrer of controversy. Huge point total putter-upper in the regular season, but he couldn't close. Much like Brett Kohler in college, had a hard time closing from time to time. This guy had a hard time closing in the fantasy football championship season. Let me tell you that right now. He's the Jason Biggs, like an American Pie. Just couldn't close. He had that hot Ukrainian, Russian, Slovakian woman in his room, dancing for him. Boom. Creamed. Way too early. Didn't make it all the way in. Didn't close. But anyways, Mahomes was the key to the season, thus the team name, post Mahomes. Because things turned around post Mahomes. Things got better post Mahomes. Once he had Mahomes in that starting lineup, boom, championship season, almost there. This guy's, again, perennially in the playoff contention. He's eventually going to pull home that championship. And, of course, everybody's going to call it rigged because he's commissioner. That's just what is going to happen. There's no other way around it. That's a scenario. But I'm thinking this guy's potentially going to win a championship. Second place regular season again. He talked trash in those power rankings, but the man backed it up. And that's what you like to see from a fantasy football player. Is if you're going to talk trash, back that trash up. Move the garbage, put the beep, 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 what the trash thing makes. The trash thing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The truck. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word. This guy's backing up the Brinks truck this year because I think he could have a championship roster. Anyways, I'm going to say he's the most likely to make a grammatical error with his team name and or the most likely to be eating an apple pie during the draft after this Jason Biggs reference. I don't know. I think it's a real possibility. Anyways, moving on to the 5th place team. That's right, Max Golterman with a nice playoff run. A former champion, Max Golterman. A lot of people forget that fact. Golty won a championship. I'm talking about Carry On My Wayward Son. Great name, like the band Kansas, though, and the state of Kansas sucked come playoff time. Screw the University of Kansas, screw anything related to Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son, a Kansas song, screw that band, and that's what Max Golterman is saying to his season last year. Screw that season. He should have known anything related to the state of Kansas is a no bueno opportunity for him. Absolutely no bueno. Anyways, he had a fantastic running back room, though, last year. They really carried the squads on their backs. Backs got a little heavy. Packs got a little heavy. That's why they didn't go to playoff glory last year. The Kerryon Johnson injury was huge. Was absolutely huge. Made an impact on the season. Bid-wise, it's a real mystery what this guy's going to do. You look at the top four, you know they're going to be getting the top players on their roster. They're savvy owners. That's what they're going to do. What's Golterman going to do with his bidding strategy? I think that's one of the biggest questions we will see coming into the draft. As a draft analyst and pundit, Todd Kiper Berman Jr. myself, I am just on the edge of my seat, literally sitting on the edge of my seat, folks, right now, trying to see what Golterman's going to do with his auction bid strategy. It's absolutely phenomenal. We're just going to talk to Golterman, most likely to sneak in the playoffs and win a championship. Most likely to sneak in the playoffs like the rat from Ratatouille. He snuck into the kitchen. He proved anybody that can cook. Max Golterman is going to prove anybody can get a playoff bid. And again, anybody can repeat as champion. I think that's what Golterman's going to set out to do. I think that's what he's excited to do this year. Moving on to the next team, we're talking about Hurricane Michael. That's right, Mike Zimmerman. 2 years in the league, making an impact right away, making the playoffs. It's exciting to see him, second year of the league. But he did cause some tropical storms. He caused some hurricanes. That was so bad, guys. I'm so sorry. But anyways, he caused some hurricanes worth of chaos in the league. He was making moves. He was talking trash. He was telling people to trade him this, telling people to trade him that, telling people to let go of this, telling people to let go of that. That's right. He was commanding the league from the owner's chair. That's what he does. He's a hurricane. He's causing storm. He's causing chaos. That's what Hurricane Michael does. He had Cody Parkey on his team, though. Cursed. Absolutely cursed. We're going to talk about a few more cursed teams later on in this segment, but I can tell you right now, having Cody Parkey on the squad was a bad move. And I'm going to write a song real quick about Cody Parkey, because I can. Cody Parkey had a missed field goal. It didn't go through the uprights. Just like Zimmerman didn't win a championship, Cody Parkey sucks real bad. And that's all I have to say in that musical bit. Exciting about it. We got the football music going back on. I think that's what the people probably want. I was experimenting with the musical aspect of this presentation. I think it's going to be probably brought up again, just to warn you. But anyways, moving on, Michael Zimmerman, again, most likely to intimidate someone out of a bid. Most of the time, intimidate somebody out of a victory. That's what he does. He had a lot of close victories. If you look back in the schedule last year, this is a guy that had a lot of close victories, man. He really pulled some out by the laces of his sneakers, man. He intimidated people to lose, and he's a hell of an owner. I mean, it's exciting to have him back for his third year. Exciting stuff. Anyways, moving on to the 7th place team. That's right, the Golden Johnson. Unfortunately, the 7th place team does not make the playoffs, so therefore I would call it more of a Silver Johnson, or a Bronze Johnson, or someone even call it a Metallic Johnson, a Copper Johnson, if you would. This guy, he has a solid playoff finish. He didn't come into the playoffs highly rated. Actually had one of the worst regular seasons in the league, but really bounced back in the playoffs, which you got to appreciate. Tom Hummel did not give up on his season. This guy's not a quitter. He doesn't quit, except for other things that aren't good for you. He quits those, but things that are good for him, he keeps going. That's what he does. But you look up mediocre, though. I did. I looked it up before the draft. I looked up the word mediocre, and under it was the team name Golden Johnson, because that's what this team was last year. Looking at that roster, it wasn't significantly great. It wasn't significantly bad. It was just mediocre. And then again, Golden Johnson, I mean, the team looked better in 2017. If you look at this team, this would have been a great team in 2017. Shoot, you bring this team back to 2016. Fantastic team. David Johnson, Dalvin Cook, Golden Tate, Cameron Brate, Aaron Rodgers, AJ Green, Jimmy Graham. The best team 2016 fantasy football has ever seen right there. Unfortunately for Hummel, we were playing in the year 2018, so things did not go his way. Again, mediocre team. But 7th place finish. He was on the verge of making playoffs. What else can he say? What can I say is most likely to forget to bid, but be the last team to change his team name, or to make a lopsided trade. I think there's a lot of possibilities with Hummel this year, much like Golterman, a real mysterious owner. If he's Team Mysterio this year, Spider-Man Homecoming. Haven't seen it. Heard the characters in it. Jake Gyllenhaal plays it. Probably got a lot of money for it. And hopefully Hummel gets a lot of money this year as a fantasy champion. That's what he's hoping for. Hopefully that Golden Johnson remains gold. It becomes the gold member, Austin Powers, he's the man. Crazy stuff. Anyways, moving on to the 8th place team. We're talking about the Wrath of Kwan, which of course is derivative from the Wrath of Khan at Star Trek. Nobody would have pegged this owner to be a Star Trek fan, but that's right, David Cole, big Trekkie guy. Anyways, he had a high-scoring regular season team, but a low-scoring playoff team. What happened? Did you stop paying attention? Did he go out to the bars too much? Was he too busy focused on his work? Was he too busy trying to develop himself as a human being? Whatever it was wrong. Because he needs to focus on fantasy football. Because that's what the fall and the winter time is all about. That's what you live 8 months of the year without football for. Or 7, depending on when the Super Bowl's played. You live for this time of the year. And he seemed to just give up on his team. He had the second most points scored against, though. That's a really tough pill to swallow. He should have drank water with that pill. Or can I recommend potentially a Chewy vitamin? Big fan of the Flintstones Chewy vitamins. Really good. I think that could be good for Cole. I think that could be good for him. I know he's a supplements guy. Real good shape. Takes care of himself. Pops those supplements. Pop those Flintstone vitamins. And I think he won't choke as much during the playoffs this season. He took Saquon Barkley, a rookie. Giants, not a good team. Not sure how Saquon was going to perform. How did he perform? He performed fantastic. So good he named his team after him. And Star Trek. He referenced them both. A double whammy. That's called the champ kind. Double whammy. Whammy! Both boom, boom, boom. Back to back. Todd Kiper Berman Jr. Anyways, he had 5 top 10 players with only 15 moons. This dude knows how to draft. But he knew how to do it in a snake draft. Will he be able to pull it off in an auction draft? That's one of the more interesting storylines of the season. Again, this auction draft is really, it's bringing a lot to the table. I'm sitting here at a table. There's a lot of stuff on the table. That's because of the auction draft. There's a lot on the table. Anyways, this guy's probably the most likely to be in a spot with terrible Wi-Fi when the draft starts. Historically, Cole has a hard time finding good spots with Wi-Fi, especially out in the desert. You got to think that's a factor, and you hope the best for him. You hope he can find his way to a hot spot. Maybe he buys a hot spot. Who knows? He saves those money with those Flintstone vitamins, because again, they're pretty cheap. You're gonna get a good deal on them. You can get yourself a hot spot. Anyways, looking on to the 9th place team. That's right, Brett Kohler's team, a real garbage squad. Bill Belichick Film School was the team name. He should have gone to Bill Belichick Film School because he didn't learn shit this year. Again, another disappointing season and the 7th place regular season team. This has happened multiple times. What can you say besides cursed? Cursed, unlucky, maybe just a bad owner. But a joy to have in the league. Real solid dude. Obviously, he's not doing something right, though. He makes moves, they don't work. He doesn't make moves, that doesn't work. He doesn't know what to do. He's absolutely perplexed with the situation. Perplexity is painted on his wall. The word is painted on his wall. He spelled it wrong, but of course he will get it right in the future once he figures out what the hell to do with his team. Anyways, 22 moves on the lower end of the draft. You look at that roster, it should have worked. People were telling him it was going to work. He had pundits telling him it was going to work. You look at the roster, and fuck, man. Baker Mayfield, Matt Breida, Nick Chubb, Thielen, Edelman, Evan Ingram, Brandon Cooks, Chargers D, Will Lutz. He had Carson Wentz on the bench. He had the fucking Panthers D, which put up a good season. What more could this guy have asked for from his team? He drafted incredibly well. He's a good drafter. He's a 2-time champion in another league. He's a champion in another league. And he just can't win. He can't seem to figure out how to make the playoffs. And he doesn't deserve to make the playoffs at this point, That's all you can say. This guy is probably the most likely to choke on chips and guac when he realizes he's going to miss the playoffs again. That's what Brett Kohler does. He chokes and he doesn't make the playoffs. Shitty owner. Look for a solid 7th, 8th place finish this season. Anyways, next is Dylan Crane, the 2017 champion. But guess what he was? He was the loser of the league in 2018. Can you believe that? That's why I'm going to jump right ahead to my most likely. He is the most likely to attend a WNBA game wearing all pink this year, wearing a large sign saying, I lost my fantasy football league because that was a punishment that was decided upon the league at the start of the ring, and he better deliver. I'm excited to see it. I hope he gets it on TV. I've been watching so many WNBA games. I at least need a picture, a Snapchat, a gram, a tweet. a Facebook notification, something. Excited to see him at the game. It should be a good game. The Chicago team's turning their season around. Anyways, regular season loser. What can you say except karma's a bitch? You win a championship, you lose a championship. That's just the way fantasy football works. It's not a fair game. It's not a fair life. Life isn't fair. And I think Crane learned that lesson through fantasy football last year. He didn't score a lot, but man, did his opponents score a lot against him. Lots of scoring going on against Dylan Crane last year. It's just, almost a whole Ben Franklin more points scored on him than any other team. That's right, 100 more points scored on him than any other team in the league. You got to chalk that up to karma. You got to chalk that up to bad luck. You got to chalk that up to seeing Dylan Crane. He's a WNBA fan. He's a sports bettor. He honestly probably wanted to go to the game. That's what my thinking is, because you don't see a dramatic fall-off like this very often, folks. From the top to the worst. That's why his team name was first to worst, because that's exactly what he did in the regular season. Let me tell you, folks. That's why I'm going, like I said, he's most likely to attend a WNBA game. Dylan Crane. Bounce back year, though. Bounce back year. This guy's a big sports bettor. He's going to be all over the auction. He's probably done 17 auction drafts already. Excited to see what he does this year. Excited to see what he does. Anyways, we only got 2 teams left. And, excited to see what those 2 teams do. Just going to fuck around here. Mark Flower, the Squire of Scottsdale. But the funny thing about that is, as the Squire of Scottsdale, dude doesn't even live in Scottsdale. He's a Chicago guy. He's another team that was real boomer bust in 2017, man. He's not a Scottsdale resident, so you have to think that came to bite him back in the butt, especially when he called himself a Squire. The city of Scottsdale probably had a revolt because, they like their citizens to be the squires. Anyways, George Kittle is the star of his team. It's bad news when your tight end's the best player on your team. Look at the guys that have owned Gronk singularly throughout the years. Probably not the greatest. You knew this guy is going to be a big bidder. He's going to try to have a bounce back year. He's probably going Saquon, first bid, $300. Even though the budget for the team is only $200, you're excited to see what happens. I'm sorry, folks, I'm losing energy here at this point. My abs are starting to hurt. I don't do a lot of ab workouts, but I do have a lot of fun talking here about fantasy football. Todd Kiper Berman Jr. Anyways, you have to think this guy is going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. You have to think this guy's going to be aggressive on the waiver wire. You have to think this guy's going to be aggressive with the odds. He's an aggressive owner. He goes for what he wants. Mark Flower, former president of a fraternity. He's a champion. He'll bounce back to prominence. That's why I'm calling him the most likely to make more moves than with the Chosky in than anybody in the league. That's just what he does. He makes moves. He wins championships, potentially, except for last year where he got 11th place. And, of course, that moves on to our final team before we get to the actual drawing. That's Connor Slater's team, the Clown Babies, because that's what his team was. A bunch of clowns. Not a good year. Not a good finish. But things should be better this year. You should turn around. Slater, you're solid, dude. I think you can do it from what I've everything heard. You had no top 10 players on your roster, which is a real mistake, something to look out for in the season. But, he was feeling out the league. He had 38 moves. He was trying to get a feel for everyone's tendencies. He hasn't been in the league very long. He's a fairly new owner to the league. He's still trying to... It's that feeling out process, It's like early in the relationship when you don't know if they like this and you don't like that. And sometimes you just got to try it and give it the old college try, and see what happens. Sometimes she says no. Other times she says yes. And you just got to roll with the punches. This year, Connor Slater's team, it's just going to say yes. It's going to win championships. Clown Babies is going to be the clown champions this year. That's why I'm calling Connor Slater most likely to get 6th place. Congratulations, Connor Slater. Not quite a championship, but you're moving up the ranks. That's a 50% gain. That's a 50% gain. That's incredible. Anyways, let's just get on to the fun stuff. Let's get right on to the bidding. Who's going to be the top bid guy? That's why I'm pulling in, as you can see here, I'm pulling in the Magic Ball bidder. Giving it a good shake. Someone called that the Harlem Shake. And we'll see who gets the top bid this year. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. The exciting stuff. Fantasy football. Todd Kiper Berman Jr. Anyways, make it count, guys. The first bid, first nomination, I should say, is going to go to somebody, eventually. For some reason, not picking up a ball. Because I was going the wrong way, folks. I was going the wrong way. That was the problem. And the first bid is going to go to a guy who's most likely to have bad Wi-Fi. so it could take a while to figure out if he's getting the bid in. That's right, first nomination is going to go to David Kolb. Congratulations. First time with the auction, first time with the first bid. Congratulations, David Kolb. Second nomination is going to go to, second nomination has been placed. Ooh, it's the guy who went from first to worst to first or first to worst, depending on what season you're looking at. That's right, Dylan Crane. Congratulations. You're going to get the second spot, second nomination. Probably looking for a Dallas Cowboy. Probably Ezekiel Elliott going to be nominated with that second pick. Third nomination is going to go to a guy who needs it. That's right, I'm talking about the Clown Babies. I'm talking about Connor Slater. Congratulations, you'll have the third nomination this year. Fourth nomination slot is going to go to, that's right, Mark Flower, the Squire of Scottsdale. Soon to be the King of Scottsdale after he brings the championship back with his fourth nomination. This guy's bidding high. He'll probably have the 4 top players on his team. More than likely. Anyways, fifth nomination is going to go to Tom Hummel. Look at him a bounce back here. Usually guys at the top of the standings. Wasn't at the top of the standings this year. Could be this year with the fifth nomination in particular. He's got some targets. Probably Aaron Rodgers. Oh, 6 nominations already popped out. That's right. We're looking at our champion. We're talking about the Mac Daddies. He's been macking down some nominations. That's right. Cameron Herman, congratulations. You're going to be the 6th one to nominate a player to get bid on. 7th nomination slot. You're going to go to Nate Sprunk. The guy who had a historic regular season last year. Congratulations on the 7th nomination bid. That's a really big day for you. Lucky number 7 or lucky number 11. Depending on if you're into movies. Anyways, number 8. That's so stupid. Number 8. That's right. The 8th nomination is going to go to Chicago guy. A guy who's bringing the championship back to the North. That's right. You know, what stays in the North will always be Northern. Jordan Mallon. Congratulations, dude. I'm not even sure what nomination slot we're at, but you're after Sprunk. So, with the 9th nomination slot, 9th nomination slot is going to go to Michael Zimmerman. Congratulations, Hurricane Michael, causing up a storm with that 9th nomination. Congratulations, Michael. We're getting around to the nitty-gritty here. The 10th nomination slot is going to go to a real jackass. That's right, Brett Kohler. Congratulations, 10th nomination slot. Fun fact, which could lead to a championship this year. 10 was his football number. So watch out, everybody. Big year. 11th nomination slot is going to go, yep, that's right, it's going to go to the commish. The commish, congratulations, you are nominating 11th. And then, of course, that leaves the one and only, the guy who nobody knows what he's going to do this year. But he knows he's nominating 12th, that's right, Max Golderman. Congratulations, Max Golderman on the 12th bid. And that's all this year, folks. I don't know what else to say, except thank you for having me back. I am Todd Kiper Berman Jr. I'm looking forward to another fantastic season of SBE Fantasy Football. And have a good one, guys. See you later.